Hello guys. So today let's revise the geography, weather and climate. So weather and climate. So we're going to review these checklists from 1 all the way to this one. So we are going to be able to compare and definite the term weather and climate, which means you have to describe the differences and write the definition of these two words. You're going to know the objects we use to measure and forecast weather. We're going to be able to explain or describe different climates. We're going to be able to construct a climate graph, which we're going to talk later too. We're going to explain the layers of tropical rainforests. We're going to describe the weather, explain the reasons of the weather in tropical climate and hot desert climate. We are going to know the meaning of the word nocturnal, which I added myself, which is useful. And we are going to be able to explain high or low air pressure. We also need to know the features of the camel or other animals, plants in the hot desert. For example, cacti, which is a plant. Alright, let's get started. Let me just erase these words. It might take a bit of time, but please be patient. Okay. So first, we're going to know the meaning of weather and the meaning of climate. So, weather, this word is the daily condition in the atmosphere in a certain place. The thing you need to be careful of is the daily condition. The daily condition. Okay. And then we're going to have to know what is climate. Weather is a daily condition of the atmosphere in a certain place, but climate is the how can I say that? It's the weather condition over a long period of time in a certain place. So this one is different. It's like over a long period of time. It can be 10 years, maybe 1 year, but it can't be daily. It can be daily. So now let's compare them. So weather is a daily condition in the atmosphere in a certain place, and climate is a weather condition over a long period of time in a certain place. You know weather, the meaning of it? Alright. So now we finished the first topic. Quite easy, right? So now let's get into the second topic, which is about the objects we use to measure the weather, to forecast it too. Objects, or we can say machines, to measure or forecast the daily weather. We can say tools if you think it's correct. Tools too. So now there are a few things to talk about. Firstly, we are going to have to say oh, this pen is weird. So we have thermometer, we have barometer, we have rain gauge, we have sunshine recorder, we've got anemometer, we've also got alright, wind vane. I think that's 6 of them. We need to memorize all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's define the first, which is I think the most common one, which is thermometer. It is the thing to measure the temperature Alright, so now barometer, you might not have heard of it, but once you see this prefix, it means air pressure. So it is used to measure the pressure, high or low, in the air. Now, what is rain gauge? There's only one tool to measure rain, so that's quite easy to understand. It is for measuring the precipitation, like the rainfall amount of rain on the ground. Now, sunshine recorder, I would say the easiest thing to understand. Sunshine, which means yes, to record, as we say, recorder, to record the amount of, I would say, UV, or like how strong is the sun, which is like, just make it easy, understand like that. Okay, anemometer and wind vane is sometimes easy to be mixed up because they are all about wind. But once you remember it, so wind vane, let's talk about it first. It's for the wind direction. Once you see vane, it was wind, it's direction. And anemometer, the other one, the wind speed, which is weird because if you tell me, you give me these two words without giving me the meaning of them, I would say anemometer is a wind direction and wind vane is wind speed, but it's actually opposites. Yeah, you only need to memorize these 6 of them: thermometer, barometer, rain gauge, sunshine recorder, anemometer, and wind vane. Okay, we are done with it. Okay, I forgot about my checklist I've written down, so let's follow my now let's now learn how to construct a climate graph. Climate graph. As we said, climate is the weather condition of in a certain place over a long period of time. So that's definitely something about climate, which is over a long period of time. If you learned about math, you would know how to construct a graph. Sorry for that, my line isn't that straight. Let me try to redraw it. Okay, so now in order to construct a climate graph, you have to know what is called a mixed graph, which means there are 2 types of graphs mixed in one. mixing one graph, which is quite easy. We've done this in the Google Sheets in the history geography lesson. So now for the x-axis, we use it to measure the we use it to show the amount of, if it's rainfall, amount of rainfall, or the amount of what is the other one? Rainfall, like precipitation, and the other one. Okay, never mind. I just forgot about that one, but it's easy to understand. The y, no, this one is y, I think. Sorry for that. For the y-axis, it's the amount, and for the x-axis, we use it to represent time. Like 1st of January, 2nd of January, the time. So, which means that it's normal. You should be able to understand it. This is the precipitation bar graph in January the 1st. Let's say this is 5, so it's 5 millimeters. Here it is 6, so it's 6 millimeters. And it goes by. Usually it's like 1, 5, 10, something like that. And here's the amount. We can say millimeters. Yeah, and I remember there's also a line graph here, but I kind of forgot it. So I kind of forgot what is that. So let's just ignore it. But this is actually how you construct a climate graph. All right, a climate graph. Now let's get into the next topic. Oh, last thing to say. A climate graph is formed with a bar graph and a line graph. Now, let's get into the next topic, which is yes, the world climate. Well, so this one, we've just done it. Here's the Earth, the equator. Okay, I'll mention one more thing here. Okay, so here's the Earth, and now here's also the tropical of Cancer. Here's the tropical of Capricorn. I just won't write it because it's too small. You just know it. So I write it TOCAP, Tropics of Capricorn, and this one, let's say TOCAN, Tropical of Cancer, Capricorn. Okay, so you know it. So there are this is not accurate, but you can understand it hopefully. So there are 4 types of climate, yes, on the Earth. So they are tropical, then it's, so we have temperate, we have subtropical, subdesert, which we don't need to memorize now, and polar. And here it is desert. So tropical, we know this. It is between the tropical of Cancer and the tropical of Capricorn. So these parts are all tropical climate. And then desert climate. So as we know, after it's still quite hot, And okay, so let's say this one is 23.5 degrees from the equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn is 23.5 degrees south from the equator. This one you need to memorize them too. Alright, now desert climate is after the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. Here it's still quite dry and hot, so it's desert climate. After it we have temperate climate, which is about after it, like in China, in Russia, in southern Russia, I would say they're temperate, like a bit cool, mild climate is called temperate climate. And polar climate, which is like polar, you know this word. Yeah, like a bit of pot. They're basically the South Pole and North Pole. We also have some climates like Mediterranean, which is like somewhere here in Greece. Yes, this like is dry and hot in the summer, and cool and dry in the winter. This is Mediterranean climate, which we don't need to think about until now. It's not going to be included in the test. We need to remember these 4 climates. So now, after learning the world's climate, let's mention some other things. Sorry for that. Okay. Let me just erase that. Okay. So, it's still the world's climate, but now I'm going to mention how the climate works. Which might be quite interesting. So, let me still construct a square, and the equator. So, as we know, here it is very, very hot. Very, very hot. And the wet and hot wind goes up, goes down to south, to north, and when it gets to here, which is about the hot desert climate, it becomes dry. So that's why when it goes up, so here it is the tropical rainforest about here. Here, so most of the wet rain went off to the rainforest. So the upper atmosphere of the rainforest is dry, and it goes up and cools. And when it gets to the hot desert, it's actually it warms up and it's hot and dry. That causes no clouds form, and then it causes no rain, high pressure. Alright, understand that? Okay. Yes, so now let's get to now let's get to the next topic. The tropical rainforest. The tropical rainforest. Alright. So this is located around or in the tropical climate area, which, as you said, they can all be found in between 23.5 north to 23.5 south. So they are wet. They are like high humidity, which you know. They are warm, not that hot. The hottest place are around the equator, but it might be not that hot, but very warm, which is like my hatest weather. Warm and wet, which is totally unacceptable. Alright, so it is warm and wet, high humidity, a lot of rainfall. Yes. And the reason it is wet is because the warm wet air mass came from the equator, falls here, precipitates here. That's why it is wet and warm all year. Understand that? All right. So now let's talk about the layers of the tropical rainforest. The layers of the tropical rainforest. Alright. Let me make it green so it's like more forest. Okay. So at the top, this is what we call emergence. Emergence, they are the most high up trees, which has a protection function. Yes, for the tropical rainforest. And here it is called canopy, a bit lower than the emergence. They're also high. And then these lower trees are called under canopy, which is kind of the lowest trees in the TRF. Under canopy. So TRF is the tropical rainforest. Under canopy, they are going to replace these canopies when they grow higher and upper. And down here, these are some shrub layers. Also, like very near to the soil, shrub layers, which you can understand, shrubs, these things live there. Okay, so now let's make some examples. For example, like, the elephants live under here, live very low. And some of the plants which they climb on the they climb on these and stick on the tree. These trees are usually found in the canopy and under canopy. And these canopies are also full of monkeys, crab eating macaques, like monkeys. They climb up there, but not emergence. Yeah, emergence are usually like birds stay there, which is okay. Hopefully you like my drawing. Okay, a bit abstract. Alright, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the hot desert climate, which is completely quite opposite to, like half opposite to the tropical weather. Hot desert, not climate, we talk about climate. So hot desert. We're going to know about these two. Hot desert. It is located definitely near, no, in the, on the desert climate parts. So as I said before, it is hot, burning hot. And dry, low humidity. Low humidity. And clear sky. Well, I should make it blue. Clear sky with no clouds. No clouds. And hot at daytime, but cold at night. Oh, why is it cold at night? Isn't it supposed to be hot and dry all the time? Why is it hot? Why is it cold at night? Yes, you have to relate to the sun. The sun. This is the hot desert. No, usually there are clouds which blocks the sun at some point, but here there isn't clouds. Here the sun burns straight to the ground, which heats the ground. Okay. That's why at night there isn't the sun. There's no sunshine. And usually there are clouds which absorbs the heat. But if there's no clouds, there's no sun, there's no heat, the ground just cools down and it's cold. That's why. And let's review again. The dry, hot atmosphere goes up to the hot desert, and therefore no clouds form. So therefore hot and dry at daytime, and cool and dry at the night. The reason there isn't clouds is because it is dry, so there's no water, there's no high humidity, there's no there's no water molecules in the air. So yes, basically we've done this. And then the next topic, let me just erase that. I've just forgot about one thing which we should cover before. That is, that is the air pressure. The air pressure. So there are high pressure and low pressure. And low pressure. High pressure means clear sky, dry, and hot. Low pressure means cloud, wet, and rainfall. So now, but do you hesitate why? Yes, now let me tell you. So when someplace there's low pressure, then the high pressure will come to cover it. The high pressure will come to back up it. And so here, for example, A and B, up here, low pressure, and here's high pressure. And then, alright, so when there's low pressure, the wet wet clouds come to here and becomes wet. So that's why low pressure causes bad weather, but high pressure says good weather. If you want further information, just go to the book so you find it. I can explain it more. Now, since we talk about air pressure, we should talk about the precipitation too. There are three types of precipitation: convectional rainfall, and wait, let me just search up because I forgot a bit too. Okay, so convectional rainfall is quite easy to understand. It's quite easy to understand. So, okay. So there are three types of rainfall. There are three types of rainfall. So the first type of rainfall is convectional rainfall. So first the sun heats the ground, which heats the air. It heats the ground because it shines straight to the ground and heats the air up there. So warm air rises, air cools as it is forced to rise, condensation clouds form and rain. Then the second type of rainfall is relief rainfall. Relief rainfall. This happens when the warm moist have nowhere to go. For example, there's a mountain from the sea, usually are forced to rise over the mountain because there's no way to continue to go this way. You have to go up. So air cools as it rises and condensation happens, clouds form and rain. And the last type of rainfall is frontal rain. Frontal. So mass of warm air meets a mass of colder air, and lighter warm air rises over heavier cold air. So that's why warm air rises, condensation happens, clouds form, and rainfall happens. Frontal rain is very common in Britain, especially in the winter. Okay. Now, then let's go to the last part. No, actually second last part. The adaptations of creatures in the hot desert. Let's list a animal camel. They have protection hairs to protect their eyes and nostrils from the windy sand goes up. They have these fats stored in the thing. How's it called? Wait, how's it called? Okay, let's make the first the next one first. So, they have large feet to avoid from sinking into the desert. I mean sand. Alright. And wait. And now let's talk about the cacti. So it's a bit easier to understand. Cacti, which comes from the word cactus. If you want, you should revise for plural too. Cacti, they are the plants which are green and really weird thing. I at least don't like them. Oh, okay. So the thing which so that one that the camel used to store fat is called hump. I forgot that word. So cacti, let's continue. They grow on the sandy thing, and then they have huge roots, goes left and right and down, like goes everywhere simply, so they can absorb large surfaces. Like if their rainfall sometimes happens in the hot desert, they are able to absorb all the surface waters around them, but not only this bit. And when there are groundwater found, they can absorb this from the down, and they have these little air sacs, water sacs, which stores water to use it for a long time. And especially, and the most funny one is that these thick these things which will make the attackers away because they really hurt. Okay, that's basically it. And the very last we have to talk about is the greenhouse effect, which we just learned, and I'm not sure if it's going to be included in the test. The greenhouse, if you want to check out the Google Classroom, we learned it. Greenhouse effect. So greenhouse gas consists of carbon dioxide and other gases like, they absorb heat from the sun. So at daytime, the sun shines so hotly onto the ground and heats the ground, but at nighttime there isn't sun, which will make the earth cooler. But in the atmosphere there are some greenhouse gas which traps the heat to avoid the temperature from going too low, or keeps the temperature warm sometimes. Yes. And okay, so that's what we call greenhouse. It's the same thing as we use to plant to grow crops. Sometimes we put it in the greenhouse. These layers of grass traps the heat. Even at night they are still warm inside. Okay, that's basically it, guys. So hope you liked this revision. If it's helpful, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.